Alrighty guys, we're back for some mono red sacrifice, and this is a March of the Machine, the Aftermath, standard brew. We're going to go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Red Cat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to ya. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. Speaking of the Discord, this was a suggestion over in the Discord, so thank you so much for the suggestion. Their list was actually a Rakdos version of this. The suggestion was essentially to build a deck that, of course, steals the opponent's creatures and then sacrifices them. So, generally speaking, we see that in a Rakdos form. I thought we'd put a little Red Cat twist on it and try out mono red and see if it's even viable, right? So what all do we have in here? We have Cacophony Scamp, which is a 1 mana 1/1. We don't get to see it too often, but when it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, proliferate. Okay. I'm not too concerned about proliferate in here, although we do have some ways to give counters. When Cacophony Scamp dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So where Cacophony Scamp really comes in handy is when the opponent doesn't end up blocking it and you can buff it with something like Antagonize. All of a sudden you're getting that 5 damage through and you can immediately sacrifice it for another 5 damage. So a very explosive way to just do half the opponent's life total, right? Pretty easily too. So do have a single Antagonize in here for that explosive combo, right? Now we have 2 Blazing Crescendos too, because I actually think while the 1 extra damage from the Antagonize could be good, but exiling the top card of your library is probably a little better. So until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. Blazing Crescendo is pretty powerful. We see it come into play all the time for our opponents that are running prowess builds, right? All right, what else do we got here? We got 3 Unlucky Witness. This is a 1 mana 1/1. When Unlucky Witness dies, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until your next end step, you may play one of those cards. Yeah, not half bad, guys. You know, it's when it dies in general. It's not like when it's sacrificed, so it could be a chump blocker or something too. So you got all 4 Riveteers Requisitioners. It's a 2 mana 3/1. When it dies, create a treasure token, has Blitz for 2 and a red. Very powerful 2-drop creature that we play with often, huh? So we got all 4 Balduvian Berserkers. This is a 3 mana 1/3 with Enlist. And when Balduvian Berserker dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Yep, so same exact ability as the bottom ability on Scamp. The Enlist on this seems pretty gross, though. It could be as simple as going, turn 2 Requisitioner. It's a 3/1, guys, and then enlisting that onto the Berserker when it comes time. Of course, it doesn't have haste, unfortunately, so it's not turn 3. But I mean, if you had the Requisitioner on board, whenever Berserker's ready to attack, enlisting Requisitioner onto this isn't bad, dude. So enlist is just, as this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning Sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature's power until end of turn. So easily buffing this up to a 4/3 that when it dies, it deals that damage to any target. Sounds pretty solid. But here's a big old combo piece for the deck. Voldaren Thrillseeker is a 3 mana 1/1 underplayed creature, man. We got a ton of them in here, huh? So for 1 mana, sacrifice this creature. It deals damage equal to its power to any target. And then it has that backup 2 right above this. So when you back up a creature, plug those 2 counters into it. And then if it's another creature, it also gains the abilities printed below. So what ends up happening if you go ahead and put that ability on something like a Cacophony Scamp, then you can sacrifice it to that ability. It deals damage equal to its power to any target. And then it also would get that Scamp's ability too, that when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So there's a potential for a lot of explosive damage in here. We'll see though, right? It's probably going to be pretty hard to pull off with all the removal floating about standard. But so ways to steal the opponent's creatures then. We got 3 Furnace Reins. The 3 mana sorcery speed. You gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it until end of turn. It gains haste. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or battle, create a treasure token. And those extra treasure tokens are going to come in handy because we're going to want to be spending all those extra treasure tokens on the abilities like Thrillseeker, or just being able to combo out by playing 2 cards on the same turn, right? Like a Furnace Reins and a Thrillseeker, plug that back up onto the opponent's creature, and then use the extra mana to sacrifice it, right? Luckily, this does say just create the treasure token. It doesn't say a tapped treasure token, right? More ways to steal the opponent's creatures. We got 3 Involuntary Employments. This is a 4 mana sorcery speed. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. Create a treasure token. So this one, you don't have to actually hit the opponent's face to get the treasure token. You just straight up get the treasure token, which could be interesting. We're trying out 3 of each. I don't really know which one's actually going to be better. Probably Furnace Reins, but I don't really know because it might be pretty hard to actually get that damage through, and the extra ramp on employment sounds pretty solid. Especially when, again, we want to be able to play like 2 cards on the same turn. So we also have 3 Pyrrhic Blasts. This is a 4 mana instant speed. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, and then Blast deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. Draw a card. So again, dude, if you're doing something like sacrificing Berserker, you're getting the damage on the Blast, you're getting the damage on the Berserker's ability or the Scamp's ability, right? And hopefully we're getting enough mana on the board to really just pop off, man. Play something like Crescendo on one of them first. Maybe you play Crescendo on an attacking enlisted Berserker and then still have enough mana open for a Blast because of the extra treasure ramp and stuff from between Requisitioner, Furnace Reins, and Involuntary Employment. That's all treasure ramp, right? We also have 25 total land in here, which I do think is going to be enough, hopefully. 2 of the land is a Mishra's Foundry. I've been finding a little bit of success with the Foundry now that there's just way too many board wipes floating about. So get a couple Crucible of Defiance over here in the mana base too. The rest is just 22 mountains. Now for the top end, we got 2 Burn Down the House. I think extra board wipe is going to be important. But also just the Devils work well with the whole sacrifice theme as well. And the Devils wrap up plenty of games for us, right? It's easily one of my favorite red cards in Standard and potentially one of the most powerful red cards in Standard. What do you guys think? Also trying out a one of here, Hurler Cyclops. This poor little buddy's going to have such a huge target on its back that is probably a janky pick. But it's a 5 mana, 5/4. A creature Cyclops, that's cool. You can pay 1 mana, sacrifice another creature. Hurler Cyclops deals 1 damage to any target. So that could be another way for us to sacrifice things. So yeah, you can definitely, you're looking at the deck list and wondering, yeah, why didn't you just splash some black in here and have some better ways to sacrifice your creatures? But I don't know. I think there's going to be some good reasons to actually have this as mono red, but we'll see. We'll see. Also, there's definitely moments. Well, I just wanted to be a little bit different here too, right? Just try something a little bit different. But let's go over the honorable mentions real quick. I thought about Sticky Fingers for a little bit. It's like I said, extra ramp is going to be very important here. Also, when enchanted creature dies, you draw a card, which could really be good. Sticky Fingers is actually solid, dude. So Furnace Gremlin, I thought about. This could be a really solid 2-drop because when it dies, you know, you get the incubate for X, where X is its power. But then what ended up happening as I was moving cards around in the deck is I actually cut a good chunk of the Antagonize and the Blazing Crescendo. So I think the Gremlin got a little bit worse after I cut some of those. A Bloody Betrayal is definitely one to consider. The extra blood token helping you filter through the deck could be really important. But I think cards like Furnace Reins and the Involuntary Employment giving us that treasure is going to be way more important than a blood token. And this deck in particular, right? And then speaking of Rakdos, Enthrall to the Pit is you gain control of target creature. It has all those other abilities, but then it has a kicker for a 2 and a black. And if it was kicked, then you sacrifice the creature at the beginning of the end step. So it's a pretty neat one, honestly. 7 mana is a steep cost for it, but it is definitely a card that should be considered. And if we had gone Rakdos, it probably would have made the cut as at least a 1 of. Alrighty, guys, that's the list. Hopefully, I went over it well enough. And thank you again for the suggestion. I hope I put something fun together for you to enjoy. Let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how it goes. All right, what am I expecting from the build, guys? I'm expecting it to be pretty janky overall, but that's fine. I think it's going to be the exact type of fun jank that we like to enjoy, right? Where there's going to be some games where we're just shocked by how explosive it actually can be, right? And then there's going to be other games where it's just like nothing's drawing the way we need it to draw. So maybe somewhere in the middle is where I should say that I'm expecting. Oh, wow, this is actually solid. Just because we got a 1, 2, 3 and all the land we need for a while. So yeah, I don't mind this hand at all, dude. And we go first. Dude, game. Thank you. Let's go, man. Island, okay. Okay. I guess we'll start with the swing. Oh, decline. Requisitioner. Going first against mono blue is huge, if this is mono blue. It's mono blue. I guess it could be some other form of tempo, though, but... Okay, now that 2's open, we gotta anticipate the counter spells, and I'd rather Requisitioner get countered than Thrillseeker. Also, against mono blue, when it comes time to steal creatures, stealing the Djinns isn't that great, is it? Because we'll need stuff in our grave, too. So I wonder if they let us blitz out the Requisitioner instead. Nah. We need to get the counter spell out of their hand, I'm thinking. Decline. Yeah, get some counter spells out of their hand so when it comes time we can play our bigger stuff. As much as I wouldn't mind Requisitioner hitting the board, though, because it's good damage, too, isn't it? We do have the sacrifice on the Thrillseeker this turn, too, if we want to try that first. Because it's 3 from the swing, sacrifice 3 from the Scamp, 3 from the Thrillseeker, so it's 9 damage this turn. That might not be the best thing. They might counter it anyways, so let's try it. You know what? If we can successfully get 9 damage through this turn, though... Okay, make disappear. Let's get the swing with the Scamp. Decline. At least Scamp's been alive and kicking, huh? Consider. Also, Burn Down the House is really good against mono blue, because it hits all of their important creatures. But we're not really a mid-range deck, so... Antagonize. Oh, buddy, we have 6 mana. No, we don't. No, we don't. Ah. Crap. Okay, well. Get a counter spell out of their hand, go Burn Down the House. Swing for 4. If they don't counter it, of course. I'm doing it. I'm doing it, guys. We're not a mid-range build, so when it comes time for them to start plugging creatures onto this board... Okay, Spell Pierce. It's possible. You know, mono blue runs out eventually. They do have ways to restock, but so far they've hit the mark every time. So maybe Scamp will be explosive enough to get us there. The big thing is we want to make sure we buff it with something like Antagonize, right? Oh. How many counters have they landed so far? Spell Pierce, Make Disappear, Essence Scatter. 3 counter spells hit the mark. What do you guys think? There's a 4th one in the last 2 cards. Involuntary. If we take the Djinn, it's only gonna be a 2/2, but it's still extra damage, so... The Antagonize getting through could be good too, though. It's gonna be a 2/4 is what I meant to say there. Yeah, let's give it a shot, because they could also just counter this as well. If we could, so what this ends up doing is it gets us the treasure token, so now we don't have to see a land. Wow, we're actually gonna get the hit too. It's too bad it doesn't end up, oh, it makes the Antagonize cheaper. That's actually sick. Let's do it. Let's do it, man. It buffs the Djinn. Now we can sacrifice Scamp for another 5, or should we do it now? Yeah, we should do it now, huh? Yeah. Yeah, we could also just hit the Djinn, take it out of the equation, but down to 3, that's pretty cool, man. That was a cool turn. Yeah, because the Djinn made the Antagonize cheaper, so we're actually able to keep the treasure. Now they restocked their hand, so counter spells are probably everywhere. We need to figure out a way to get that last 3. That was fun and explosive. It landed. So Blast can do 1, get a draw. We get to see 2 more off of the Witness. Oh, we're gonna die from the Djinn in the air though. Oh, that's a shame. If that was a creature, I guess there could be a counterspell for this too. Yeah, let's just get the card draw, man. We draw and we see 2 more. This is definitely the fun way to go out. Requisitioner, nice. Blazing Crescendo, bro, wow. Requisitioner has the Blitz for next turn. Oh, until your next end step. Okay, okay. We gotta remember Unlucky Witness. We don't get to see this card too often. Djinn probably wraps it up this turn anyway, so. Oh, and the 11. Very, very fun game, opponent. Very good. I mean, it sucks when you run into so many counter spells, but we actually ended up doing a lot. And there was probably a way to play that out that was probably less fun. But at the same time, everything's risky when you're up against mono blue, man, so everything feels like a risky play. Oh, did I actually drop the good game, or was I just hovering there? Stealing the Djinn was so cool. Dropping the Antagonize. There was probably ways for us to win, guys. Getting them down to 2 was just so cool, man. Seeing the Blazing Crescendo a couple turns earlier, maybe. Oh, maybe we got to make a point for a 3rd Crescendo or a 2nd Antagonize or something. Then again, I mean, obviously, that was just the first game. More testing's required, because if we actually would have landed some of those cards earlier too, the triple counter spells really got in our way. Like if for example, if the Devils would have landed, that would have been the 3 damage right there. We go first. Okay, I like the last hand better, but that's just because I like 1-drops. So I like turn 1 plays, right? But this is totally fine. All right, Requisitioner. Selesnya. Let's see, Selesnya Human, Selesnya Toxic, Selesnya Enchantments. Okay, Selesnya Enchantments it is. It's gonna be really good, actually. This trade is just excellent for us, man. It's a really good trade. They take the 3. There's no question in my mind. Wow. Okay, I mean, I'll take the treasure token, and that's just like really, yeah. They must have another Weaver in hand. Was that not a trade in our favor, guys? I think it was. Employment. Furnace Reins. Nice. Okay. Crescendo. Stealing little visitors and stuff isn't that great. I'd rather go Crescendo for the turn and see what happens. See if they end up blocking here. Let's go, because this could have been something, in other words, is what I was saying. Extra 4. We saw land off the top. Okay. We'll play that land next turn. I think it was worth it for the extra damage, although we'd rather like have it sacrificed and whatnot to something else, but we don't have any sacrifice cards in hand anyways, so... Buff, buff. What do we end up taking here then? Probably the Naturalist, but it actually, they put the counters all on Visitor, huh? Okay, Riveteers Requisitioner. We'll play the extra land that we got over here. Could always blitz down Requisitioner too, but again, no easy way to sacrifice Berserker for the turn. If we take the Naturalist, we'll gain a couple. It does untap Visitor too. It is a 3/3. Probably get the damage through. I think we take the Naturalist, though. It's actually a really tough decision. Because obviously I'd rather kill whatever I ended up taking, but they don't know what's in hand, so I doubt they chump the Berserker. Because like we already played a Blazing Crescendo for the turn. So I think they take the 3. Then we play the Requisitioner from hand. Got the extra treasure. So now we have a ton of mana, which is definitely what the deck was trying to do. At this point, we're just looking for one of our cards that helps us sacrifice, which is Thrillseeker, and also the 4-drop that we had last game. That lets us draw a card too. And the way we're gonna be, well, yeah, we'll see, because we'll have 8 on the board. So we'll definitely have enough mana if we see one of those sacrifice cards. Swing for 5. Back up. Crap. Back up to 18. We're going down to 14. I'm going to take the damage. Wedding Announcement gets him a chump blocker. Mana! Oh no, guys. Okay. Well, we could take the Naturalist, swing for 4. We'll go back up to 18. But now we don't... Like, that's the last card we have to steal. Might not have enough cards to actually sacrifice. I guess we have 9 total, right? No. More? I think I forgot to go over one of the cards in the deck, guys. I think we have a 2-drop, or a 2-mana card that helps us. If we don't steal for the turn, then this could be bad. But I'm holding back. Let's get the Enlist. Are we dead next turn, though, from anything? We're going for it. We're going for it, man. They chump, okay. If we die, we die. It's totally fine. The chump is actually really rough. A trade with Berserker would have been huge for us, but obviously that would have been really bad for them. Like trading Visitor, and then we could have taken care of the Weaver of Harmony too. If I would have kept Riveteer... Actually, if I would have kept both of them back as blockers, there's always a possibility that Selesnya Enchantments just doubles down on removal, right? 2 Ossification or Naturalist making everything cheaper too. You know, the Exile removal, just one of the Exile removals, and then Weaver of Harmony copies it, and then takes both of our creatures, so... Holy cow. We drew the card that sacrifices, but now they have a Catilda. And we don't have enough spirits or enchantments. Man, if that was still an 8/8 when we stole it, that would be insane. Oh, man. That would be insane. But no, I guess it's probably Naturalist then, right? See, they're back up to 23 because lifelink is a pain in the butt, bro. If we take anything... so if we take... Crap. If we take... I'm sorry, opponent, I'm thinking. Whatever we take, we want to sacrifice, right? But I'd rather sacrifice the Berserker for extra damage. Maybe we can clean some stuff up here. I have no idea. Because we gain some life back by doing this, too. They still have 7 in the air regardless. So what's the most fun way through then? Save 2 blockers on the ground. Oop, 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 oop. Swing for 4. They don't know what's in hand, so they take it. We're back up to 8, which gets around Catilda for a second. And then we'll take care of Naturalist on the ground, right? The Weaver's pretty bad too. We also get a card draw here. There's a small chance. 4 damage to the other Naturalist. Another blocker on the ground. So Catilda might not kill us now. That turn hurt my head, guys. I had to think that one through, and maybe Weaver of Harmony was the best bet because, well, doesn't look like they hit any removal just yet. Yeah, they can actually just buff Catilda because of double visitor. GG opponent. That, you know, our deck has actually had like a chance in both of these games so far, so I'm relatively satisfied. Get the GGs ready once they decide that it's actually just a swing in the air, right? We don't have anything in hand, and we have a treasure here. And I do like to let my opponent swing on in. If they decide, we'll drop them a GGs while we wait. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's the one. That's the one, opponent. Yep, it's the Catilda swing. Yeah, right there. That's the one. Opponent is obviously trolling us, guys, but I am gonna stick it out. So if you guys want to go ahead and fast forward to the next one. Oh, there they go. They actually got the swing in. Yeah, GG opponent. Not sure what the troll was about, but we caught it on camera. Either way, I like to play it out. Generally speaking, we never run into that. When's the last time we ran into a troll that just didn't actually swing in? Maybe like a year and a half ago, if then, right? So that's pretty funny. That reminds me, guys, we always have chapters and everything on all the videos. Always feel free to skip ahead to the next match. I know I like to stick them out, and I've been actually conceding against a lot more control style decks and stuff because they're just absolutely brutal right now against my builds. Seeker, yeah. If we would have seen that a turn earlier, or if we would have seen the blast a turn earlier, I think that game could have actually leaned towards us, right? I think so. Or it could have started to lean towards us. Either way, Selesnya Enchantments would have been a really tough uphill battle. Heartstabber, wow, we don't get to see that too often. That's cool, opponent. Very cool. I don't think it's Thrillseeker yet. Although getting a, like if we're able to swing and hit the opponent's face for 5 next turn off a Thrillseeker, that's probably fine. Because we could do the same thing, find a 4th mana for the turn after, play Thrillseeker number 2, get the 7 through, and then sacrifice it, which would just be game. That would be 5 for 1 turn, and then 14 on the next turn. So at that point, the opponent wants to keep a blocker back, but we'll see what they end up doing. And if we find the 4th mana, they do end up keeping the blocker back anyways. At that point, Berserker isn't bad too, and eventually sacrificing Berserker with Thrillseeker is actually better, and we found the 4th mana here too. But if we don't go Thrillseeker, then we don't get to hit this turn, is the thing. So I'm going for the hit this turn. And they probably end up chumping then, but now our Riveteers Requisitioner doesn't die. And this doesn't have Death Touch yet because of the bottom ability. Oh, wait, where am I? Top ability. As long as there are 5 or more mana values among cards in your graveyard, even Heartstabber gets +2/+2 and has Death Touch, oh my. And then when it dies, you mill 2 cards, then draw a card. Pretty solid Dimir card, guys. It really is. There's so many cards in Standard that's just like, huh, that's actually pretty solid. And we just never get to see it because Standard's power level is absurd. Okay, we get a treasure. That's good. So we got him down to 13. They probably keep the chump blocker back. Oh, they do not. So now we don't really have the Antagonize available yet. I mean, we do, but we don't. Like, we could swing, but we let Kaito survive because we have a chance to be super duper explosive. Oh, they found another chump blocker anyways. So now if we use the treasure, we could take out this Heartstabber with the Thrillseeker, but that's probably not worth it. Unlucky Witness. Get some stuff on the board. This doesn't necessarily look like the type of board state that wants to wipe the board. Not a Sunfall, at least. This would be a Depopulate style deck, and they only have 1 white mana so far. So it's probably not Depopulate, but... So if it's Berserker for the turn, and then Unlucky Witness, like they are at 12. If we can enlist Berserker for at least 1, put the other 2 on Thrillseeker, well... Antagonize Thrillseeker is much better, isn't it? But we only have 5. We would need an extra mana there. Not worth the trade. They mill 2 and draw. I don't think that's worth the trade. I think there's a possibility that we can get this excess damage through without attacking. Just have to figure out where. I mean, if we find 1 more mana, that's where, right? Because then it's Thrillseeker onto Berserker, then Antagonize onto Berserker, then activate Thrillseeker's ability.
Now, what do we have here?
Oh, they did find the 2 white mana, guys. So it could still be a Depopulate, which would be really bad for us. Yeah, it could still be a Depopulate. Invasion of Amonkhet. Oh, it's not a Depopulate, guys. Okay, land off the top and we can get there. They still have 2 mana open, though, so... Discard a card. Probably Blast. I think Thrillseeker being 1 mana... Well, it's technically not 1 mana cheaper, but it's attached to a creature. But the card draw... No. Yeah, it's Blast. Because Antagonize gives us our best chance of winning, I would say. Right? Mana. Okay. Let's see if they ended up finding a counter spell. Which one would we rather them counter then at that point? The Antagonize, right? We'd rather them counter Antagonize. Nothing's happening. Target the opponent's face, pay 1, 7 damage. And then another 7 damage. Dude, what on earth? Good game, opponent. GG. Oh, man. That was pretty cool, dude. That's one of those games where you just wish it was the first game of the evening. You know, one that showcases what the deck is supposed to do. That's brutal, man. Wow. I'm kind of taken aback by how well that worked out. That worked out just so well. Yeah, 14 just damage directly to the opponent's face, evading the chump blockers is insanity. Okay, not a bad hand. It's not the greatest hand of the evening, but it's definitely not the worst. Like, we actually have stuff to play, which is essential, right? We probably start with Unlucky Witness over the Scamp, right? That way if it dies, we have the potential to see more. Against Mono Red too, they could easily burn Scamp. Although Scamp blocks pretty well against Mono Red. Not like a 3/3 Feldon though, so... Feldon would be awful for us. Okay, they have Chandra for next turn, which is probably what they end up doing. Actually gonna go no Mishra's Foundry open for next turn. Oh, maybe I should. I was gonna say, if we keep a red source open, maybe it changes what they do, but this is fine as well. I'm not gonna chump with the Unlucky Witness. because it actually gets exiled because Etching's about to flip. And that's actually the exact same concept with the Cacophony Scamp too. Anything that they deal damage. If a creature dealt damage this way, or this turn, by a source you controlled would die, exile it instead. So luckily it doesn't get exiled if we end up using like the Scamp's ability and stuff. Like to sacrifice it on its own. Yeah, they can successfully swing here. And they actually have 1 mana open because of Chandra, so they can burn one of our creatures and get that exile now. And then swing too. Play with fire. That's a play with fire that's not hitting our face, which is awesome. Alright, we are probably in trouble here for the game. Blazing Crescendo, we take out Chandra. That's definitely good. Let's see what we see off the top here too. Berserker, nice. That could be good. Getting an extra creature down is probably... Also, Hurling Cyclops might be really good to get down against this deck. Well, not anymore. Warfare is pretty bad. Start with the swing, right? Again, I don't plan on chumping while Etching's out there. I'd rather... Well, if we take 3 from Etching too many times, this Warfare's a problem. Oh, Warfare also runs End the Festivities too. Alright, down to 10, let's do this. Wow, nothing from the opponent. That's definitely a turn of burn then. Speaking of a turn of burn, we have burn down the house if we want to swing for 6 total, down to 13. We also have the blast. It's too bad we don't have something a little bit chunkier on the board to enlist the Berserker. Hurler's probably good, but it gets picked up by Lightning Strike so easily. Let's keep Unlucky Witness as a chump blocker. And for now, enlist with the Berserker. And the reason we do the enlist is because we have the blast open in hand. If they end up targeting Berserker with a Lightning Strike or something, we could always throw it with the blast and draw a card. Which would do 4 total. They end up taking it. Oh, maybe not. Okay, they end up taking it. And now we go Hurler Cyclops. And Lightning Strike on Cyclops, it would be awful for us. But also they could just hit face quite successfully here. 3 to face, yep. Because down to 7. And more burn. Oh, did they keep that on top or send it? Crucible? Okay, those don't get the buff from Warfare, luckily. Because they're colorless spirits. So we can probably let those go through. This has been a fun time, guys. This deck's pretty fun. It is definitely, like I said, the fun kind of jank. Okay, squeeze a problem, dude. They still have a card in hand, too. If it's any amount of burn. So we are forced to chump here. We're going to do our best. Chump, taking 4 total. And then just another play with fire. They've already seen 2 play with fire. I guess it could be a Lightning Strike too. Yep. GG opponent, let's see it. Let's see it, buddy. Because actually, if they don't have it, then we could win next turn. They pass. Did we just win? Guys? Did we just win? I mean, I guess we go enlist, right? We should probably swing with the Scamp, too. Play it all out, right? Okay. Let the damage hit. Sure. Why not? Blast. Target. Berserker. GG? Bro. The explosiveness. How fun is that, man? Oh, man. Dude. I'm so happy right now. I've been taken aback during these explosive moments. I can't believe how well it's actually working. It's gotta be janky though, right? It's gotta be. Oh man. We have time for one more. 40 minutes in, and I actually have a bit more to record today, unfortunately, guys. So I should probably call it there. But we had some great matches there. Wow. That was a fun time, dude. Like I literally lost my words at the end of a couple of those with how potentially explosive it actually can be. I like the balance of everything here quite well, but something I would do is actually drop one of the involuntary employments and go up like another antagonize. I think that would be really good. The unlucky witness kind of sort of did a thing. It let us see some stuff off the top that one time, and we did end up playing him that game too, right? And then did we end up winning with what we played? I kind of forget, honestly. Requisitioner was great. Scamp was great. Berserker was great. That's one of the reasons the deck is so dang explosive, dude. Thrillseeker was great. The Blast. Should we go up to 4 Blasts? Maybe. Maybe. So what would I do then? I would maybe even drop... See, I like the extra treasures off of these and grabbing something huge from the opponent, or even something simple like a Shieldred, right? Something simple like that, getting rid of their important chump blocker. That being said, we still have the 3 Furnace Reins, potentially ramping us with that treasure too, so the single Hurler Cyclops, I don't think I'd go up to 2 of these, even though it was really good to enlist with the Berserker, obviously, but I think the 1 of is still fine. I still like the 2 of Burn Down the House too. The 25 land was kind of perfect, right? I don't think I'd go up or down any of the Mishra's Foundries either. I think the land split was completely fine. So what on earth would I do then? Well, first of all, what would you guys do? Let me know down in the comments. I always love to hear your guys' suggestions. But that reminds me again, I know I said it like 3 times already, or at least twice, but this was a suggestion in the Discord, and the original suggestion was Rakdos, but it's like either way, thank you so much for the suggestion. This was just a really fun time where I literally lost my words. Like there's nothing that I can think of that's more fun than just 20 damage out of nowhere. I know it wasn't literally 20, but like, you know what I mean? Like the explosiveness was just so cool. Anyways, what would I do then? I'd go up the 4th Blast. I'd go up a 2nd Antagonize. Now we need to find room for him, so I'd drop 1 employment and potentially the 2nd employment. So you'd only have 1 of the involuntary employments in here, and I think that would be totally fine. Getting rid of part of the suggestion where it is to steal the opponent's stuff and then sacrifice him, but that's pretty hard to do for this list in particular, even when we were trying to ramp with all the extra treasure and everything, right? Nahiri's Sacrifice. I forgot to go over this when we were going over the deck, guys. It's in here, though, so it's a 2-mana sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or creature with mana value X. Nahiri's Sacrifice deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. Honestly, dude, mana value X? This could completely wipe an opponent's board. So you can steal, you don't even have to steal, you can just sacrifice like a Requisitioner and pop a couple Phoenix Chick, right? And then get a treasure with the Requisitioner. It could be as simple as that, right? But realistically, we got mana pretty easily. Getting to 6 mana wasn't too bad, was it? So if we do something like take a Furnace Reins, if we had 5 mana, right? Furnace Reins, their biggest thing. Nahiri sacrifice it. And maybe it was a Shieldred, so that would be mana value 4, right? Then you get to do 4 damage divided as you choose among their other creatures. So in that scenario, maybe you're up against a like a Legends build, right? Where they had a turn 1 Skrelv, turn 2 Dennick, and eventually they got their Shieldred down. You steal that Shieldred, you'd have the 3 for Dennick, you'd have the 1 for Skrelv. I guess they could use protection off of Skrelv, but you guys know what I mean. There's scenarios where Nahiri Sacrifice could do a thing, and I can see why. I can see why the past version of me added one Nahiri Sacrifice, but now I'm wondering if it would just be better. Like, with how explosive those games actually were, right? If we just go up the other Antagonize too. Or, so, like, we'd have 3 Antagonize, 2 Crescendos. Or 3 Crescendos, 2 Antagonize would be good too. Okay, I could see that. Okay, hold on. One more recap. So, since I forgot to go over it anyways, Nahiri Sacrifice potentially could be cut, although you are getting rid of one more way to sacrifice your creatures too, which could be essential if you need to sacrifice Berserker. Ah, crap. Okay, no, keep the Nahiri Sacrifice until we test it out more, right? So maybe dropping an Unlucky Witness, but I do like the 3 of them. I just like having extra creatures in here, making sure we have stuff to plug the counters onto too, and then you could sacrifice it, and then you get that whole ability. Crap, dude, I'm having trouble finding the room, huh? I guess it's the 2 involuntary employments then. Yeah, drop down to 1 employment, go up the 4th blast, and the 2nd antagonize. And I think the deck is good old-fashioned, like, explosive jank. Just really fun. Like I said, lost my words a few times there just out of just like surprise and just having a good time. So either way, guys, yeah, thank you for being here. If you made it this far into the video, for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.